Hello YouTube, this is Ready Set Exploit and we're going to be doing Symfonos from Vulnhub. And I really like this machine because it really tests your basic enumeration skills, how to take minimum information that you're given and try to put it all together to see how they're all connected and how applications are working under the hood. Because we start with a website that is using LDAP to authenticate users. So we perform a LDAP injection to bypass the login. Then we see that it is using a URL request to look at the pages in the website. So we perform a server-side request forgery, or even actually almost like a local file inclusion, both pretty similar. And we use that to read the source code of the login page. And we find some LDAP credentials, which we then go back to LDAP and authenticate in to find even more credentials of a user in the machine. And then through a sudo misconfiguration, we use the dpkg, which is a Debian package management software command to get access as root. So without further ado, I'll just go ahead and get started. So first I'm going to make this bigger so we can see. Then we're going to do hostname -I to get our IP address. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a quick IP scan using Nmap. And I'm going to do a quick scan with min rate 10,000. And I'm going to start at the .3 all the way to 254 and only grep for open ports. Running as sudo, so we need our password, and we have the IP address of our machine, and we even get some ports 22, 80, 39636. So I want more information, so I'm gonna run -sb to get version information, -sc to run default scripts, -on to save all our report to nmap.txt, the IP, and -p because I want to scan all ports. In the command before, I didn't do that because I just wanted the IP address. So it runs pretty fast because it's on a local network. And even here, I like running this quick command because I get some ports and start kind of getting an idea of the machine. And I see 2280 SSH web server, 389, which is LDAP, 636 LDAP SSL, and my scan did finish. And we do have open SSH running Debian, port 80, Nmap telling me it's an Ubuntu machine, which is part of the Debian family. We have Apache running on the web server, and we have 389 running LDAP, open LDAP, and 636 running LDAP SSL. Now, usually I like starting with Alt-Shift-S to name my tags so I can stay a little bit organized. And I like starting with the web server, top to bottom, because we can't really do anything with SSH anyway. So we're going to run Ldapsearch on the IP with -h, -x for basic authentication, -s to look at the naming context. And we get a hit with DC equals Symfonos, DC equals local. So now we can run -b to look at that naming context to see if we can authenticate without credentials and maybe expose some information about the machine. Unfortunately, we get no hits. So from here, we can just move to the website to see if we find anything. 24, and we get a picture of Zeus, the god of gods? No. Yeah, God of Thunder. No. Yeah, anyway, doesn't matter. I'm blanking out. And now it's gonna kill me. What is Zeus, the god of the sky? Okay. Thunder, I guess. See the image here. Anyway, so always a good habit to Control U and check the source. If you don't like Control U, you can right click and inspect. Oh, well. Wrong button. Thought it would say view source. Anyway, doesn't matter. Control U to view the source, because sometimes there's hidden comments, anything that could be left out that maybe the developer forgot to erase, and we have nothing here. So at this point, I'm going to run Gobuster, and I'm using target the IP address, and we have -w for the word list we're going to use. I'm going to use seclist discovery 2.3 medium text, and on whenever I'm starting and I don't know the extension, because as you see we don't have it, we could do index.html. We see that it's running that, and if we do try to see if it's running PHP, doesn't find it. But I still like to include it on the extensions, because at least these three are my favorite, because you could find a text file that maybe exposes something the developer forgot to delete, maybe just left it there by mistake for some weird reason. Maybe HTML pages and PHP pages. So Apache usually uses PHP files, so we're going to save our output to a file called dir.txt with -o, and we run, and we get a couple hits. Index.html, we know that's just the image page. Static, there's probably more images are stored there. We have portraits, and going 200, logout, and home get redirected to admin, and they're not displaying any part of the page. And we have the admin page. So we have two potential pages. You know, we can check the admin page, and we get a login page. Again, check the source. Just for anything, nothing really here, nothing stands out. And we can check portraits to see if we find anything there. Did I spell that right? Did more pictures of Zeus, and we have nothing here as well. So we can ignore this for now, and we'll let the scan finish in the background. So from here, we can try things like MySQL injection, which is the thing I first tried. Do a single quote, double quote, to see if we can get an error. Do admin quote, something. You know, we could even just try common passwords. You can run Hydra, and to see if we get anything. And unfortunately, in this case, we don't. So I got stuck here for a little bit. So in cases like these, when I get stuck, I always like to go back, and especially to my Nmap to see what else I have. I tried basic authentication, LDAP, nothing, and I'm stuck on the login page. So typically, you know, you find that a login page will use MySQL, which is why most people, myself, will try SQL injection, right? Because just because they didn't scan it doesn't mean it's not running locally. But in this case, I'm going to assume that they're using LDAP to authenticate, because you can use LDAP to authenticate on websites. So what I did, if you're stuck here, I was like, you know, Google is your best friend. If you do LDAP login bypass, Google that, you know, you get LDAP injection, right, from Hacktricks. It's a great site. So if we open that page, and it loads, so LDAP injection attack to exploit web applications that construct LDAP statements based on user input. So if you go down, we get a couple of examples. We have these little asterisks here. So the asterisks are great in LDAP injections. So worth a shot. And if we do that, asterisk on both. Whoops, I put an 8. Well, that's embarrassing. We bypass the page, and we have an underdeveloped site. Again, check the source, nothing here, and we can let go of this, and we have, you know, homepage, logout, and portraits. We're back to portraits, and right on the bottom left, you can see that it's using the URL parameter. Click on it, and we're back to the page. So, you know, right away when I see things like URL and an actual site, I like to think of server-side request forgery, so we can actually talk and, you know, look at things like on the server side. As you see, there's a local, the local host. So if we try admin PHP, we see that we go back to the admin page. So I'm actually going to use burp, have proxy, turn on burp, run it, and to see what we can do with this. You can try local, we could try local file inclusions. So you can intercept it. Lately I've just been looking at the HTTP history, so click on there, here we go, and we're gonna do a repeater. This might be a little small, I apologize. So let me do, let's see, display, I'll do, I don't know, 16, yeah, looks good. So again, I just refresh the page, went to proxy HTTP history, right clicked on it and send to repeater. You could do Control R. So now we're here, click send, we have the page. I like burp, you can render it, see what you're seeing. And if we try a couple things, we can see if we can call the page just using admin.php. And we do, we get a hit. If we scroll down, we get the source code here, which is pretty nice. See how it's authenticating. And if you want to see it better than this, you can also do, let's see, hack tricks LFI. Go here, file inclusion. Gonna take a little bit to load. And then on the right hand side, we go to, where is it? The PHP filter, the wrapper. And there we go, we have this here. So this will convert into base64, which is just easier to grab, because I could just copy this, but let me just do another repeater. And do that. And there it is, it's encoded. And why do I want to do this? Because I want to copy it to my local machine. It's just easier to do it, at least for me, in base64. So we're going to call this source. I'm going to call that file there. We don't have to call it base64, but I like to. And then we're going to base64 decode it into the admin PHP. And the reason being why I targeted admin PHP is because that's what is using to log in. So I want to see how the application is being run, which, as you can see, it is connected through LDAP and it has credentials. We also have some kind of Docker address. That's, you know, good to know, because this looks like this could be running in a Docker container, not on the machine. And we have some credentials here. We could try doing SSH in those credentials, but we don't have a user yet, you know. So we also could have tried, which is what I first tried, doing a typical local file inclusion. But in this case, it doesn't work. Oh, it does. I don't know why it didn't work the first time I did it. Maybe I was messing something up. I don't know. But looks like it does work. You know, maybe I fat fingered something. I really thought the first time I did the machine, local file inclusion wasn't working. I couldn't get a hit. So I was like, okay. Anyway, yeah, I probably just messed something up and, you know, just thought. So it was good practice. We have, let's see, any users? No. So you could see very good design on this machine because we are on a Docker container. How can we tell? Let's see. Let's go back to the root. Docker.env. No. Whoops. Docker env. There we go. Under development. No. I forgot what the name of that file was. Let's see. Maybe we just don't have the ability to read it. Let's see. What is the Docker env file? Just make sure I got the name. Docker env, Docker init. Okay. So I know it's usually at the root, but maybe I just missed it. Maybe Docker env, Docker init. Okay, well, let's see. Can we do, let's see, host? Okay, there we go. We have a Docker container. There you go. So, good way to tell if we're in a Docker container. See, host. Right? It's a good enumeration practice. So you can kind of get an idea. Yep, this is the Docker container. You can get an idea how this machine is running. But anyway, we have the source code, right? And let's see, nmap, so admin source. I thought I had that open already. I did. I'm gonna close that. There we go. So we have our source and we can review it and we see, yeah, it is authenticated using LDAP. And we have admin and a password, it seems. So if you not too familiar how to authenticate, you can do LDAP search examples And right here by dev connected, we could see how my life would have been a bit easier if for some reason this worked the first time I did it. I don't know why it didn't work. I probably typoed something. Maybe I even did something silly as that. And that's what, oh no, it does work, okay. I don't know why it didn't work the first time. Doesn't matter. Why are you not working? Is my intercept on? Let's see. Let's turn you off for now. I want to show this page. Keeps taking too long. I'll just keep going. So we're going to grab this right. Yeah. Ldapsearch dash D. Yeah. So these are the credentials that we found. Dash D is kind of like the username, and we have it here. cnadmin, and the base naming context dash W for the password. Dash X, this allows us to do zeus authentication. Dash B for the naming context. And if we click that, we see we got some results, particularly these two. We have admin, which is the LDAP administrator, and we have a base64 encoded password. This doesn't really tell us anything. I'll save you some time. But we have something interesting here. We have the user zeus, has a home directory, and we have this little, looks like base64 encoded password. We have a mail. So let's decode that. We have this random string, and you know, this is definitely worth trying to see if it's a password. SSH, zeus, paste, and we're in. We are in as the user zeus. Now, typically, oh, there we go, finally. So if you weren't sure how to authenticate, there's a good page. It talks about how to use the authentication CD, cnadmin, W. This does an empty password, but we had one, so that kind of worked. Object class, whatever. Anyway, so, you know, timed out here. So enough of that, and we are done with burp. And let's see. We can, from here, we can do your basic enumeration. First thing you should always run is sudo -l to see if we can run anything as root. And we can. We can run dpkg as root without a password. If you're not sure what that is, you say, what is dpkg Linux? In case you find something else. And we see that it is a software at the base of the package Debian. It's used to install, remove, and provide information about .dev packages. So that's what that is. If we, first thing, especially when dealing with sudo-l commands, we can look at GTFOBins. You could Google GTFOBins dpkg, but let's just check the actual site. And we can search here for dpkg, and then we have one. We have a sudo one, which is what we have. And this is the default page, which is likely to be less. So if we look at less, and less has its own exploit. Basically, you call it, and you can just activate a shell. So less is just a way to read files. So let's say we, I don't know, let's do it on our local machine. So perfect. Let's do less. Let's do less admin php. You see, I get the top, and then I just keep going down. And what this exploit is doing is we can get a shell by using this command. So we list the profile, then we use that command, bin bash. I know it's bin sh, but I like bin bash. And look, I have a shell. Exit, turn, and we are done. Q to leave. See that? So we're gonna apply the same thing. So we're gonna do sudo. Actually, if we go back, it does -l. Yeah, -l. So where am I? Let's just copy it. Sudo see, oh, that's, yeah, there you go. Just copy this. And we see we're in less. So same thing. Exclamation mark, / bin, dash. And let me show you what happens if I use sh. We get a shell, we're root. So we got the machine, and we can read our, I think is proof. See, I don't have autocomplete. Let's say I mess something up, right? If we go back, you see I'm all messed up. Exit, turn. But if I do bin.bash, now I have a much better shell. I can go back up, and I can even tab autocomplete, and we have our proof right there. Okay, congrats on ruining Symfonos 5. So now we have what we came to do. So we'll do pass wd root password. Do that, and I'll show you a neat little trick. See, we can go to this machine, and is that showing? Is that working? Let's see. There we go. So now we can log in as root. This is, sorry, it's a little small. There we go. So we have the local machine working. But anyway, back to here. Back to my Kali. There we go. So that's the machine. Pretty interesting. As you can see, the attacks didn't take long. It really is just about figuring out what is working under the hood. In our case, we had the web page. We just had to realize that it was using LDAP. You use the right search, you find LDAP injection, you bypass it, and then through I can honestly say, local file inclusion. I thought it was a server-side request forgery because I swear I could not get local file inclusion to work for some reason, if my memory serves me right. But you always find ways to work around it, and luckily I did at the time. And then we got the source code, got the credentials for LDAP, logged in, found more credentials, and now we found our way to the machine. We used the exploit from GTFOBins, and we got root. So that's the machine. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and enjoy the rest of your day.